So good afternoon. So if I'm not audible, you can just raise your hand and then you can inform me. So it's 27th June 2023. We are attending this active learning in STEM with the interactive Phet simulations. So I welcome you on board. I'm Godfrey Biambo, a Phet fellow. We were supposed to be with Dr. Rose Mpende, but she's occupied somewhere. So I am accompanied in this meeting by Dr. Rebecca Vieira, who is with us here. So she has waved. So thank you so much. So to begin with, these are the Phet fellows. So Rebecca Vieira is Director of Global Initiatives, Phet, Colorado, Boulder. So we'll be joined by Zach Basu during the Phet workshop. So Zach Basu is the Phet ambassador and is based in Nairobi, Kenya. So on the right, we have the Phet fellows of 2022, and currently we also have Phet fellows of 2023. So there are 17, there are 15 in Africa and 17 in Latin America. So their work is to champion for effective and quality STEM teaching in Africa and in different countries where they come from. Welcome on board. So maybe if you want to read about their biographies, their background, what they do, you can check the link below. That is https Phet fellows. You can check that link. Yes, Johnson. Now, on the chat box, you can introduce yourself by typing who you are. You can share with ourselves what subject you teach. You can share anything interesting about yourself. What are your vision? What are your, maybe where do you want to take the students in STEM? How far should we go? And maybe currently, where are we? So you are free to share your insights so that we can inspire ourselves. So the objectives of this session, the first one is locate and interact with the Phet simulations. The second one is to use or maybe design a SIM-based lesson. So in the course of our training, we'll be designing a SIM-based lesson plan and a SIM-based activity sheet that can use to implement our lessons in class. So also the aim of this meeting is to find help and support for using Phet simulations. So I believe most of the teachers who are here, or some of them, have interacted with Phet simulations, and maybe you have some difficulties, have some areas where you need clarification. So you are free to ask at the end of this session. So lastly, objective of this meeting is to be aware of and also to know how to navigate the Coursera platform, and this is the platform that we're going to use during our workshop. So there is a picture on the left. So the picture on the left, now you are free to just unmute and give your observation of what you see. What do you think about those? What do you see generally? So anyone unmute? Yeah.
Okay. Hello, members. My name is Mwalimu Felix. Okay, according to what I can see on the picture, I'm seeing some learners and their teacher there. There is a board and it's like they are going through a physics lesson. Though I think it is a bit not good to teach the physics in that manner. I would think it were better if they were having some technology to assist them in learning.
That's great, Felix. That's great. Anyone else to give an observation? Anyone else just unmute?
Godfrey, you may need to hold the microphone close to your mouth. It's a little hard if you don't. It's a little hard to hear. There we go. That's better.
So, thank you. So anyone else, maybe unmute and just share your observations, what you see, and give your reactions.
Okay, I can't stop to observe this. I'm a physics teacher.
Yeah,
So
sure,
somehow the formulas that are there are a bit wrong. There is a formula about voltage. I can see time. I think generally it's just a confused lesson. I don't know what is going on. I can see meters per second, that is time and velocity. Yet I'm seeing some voltages. There's even the symbol almost looks like a transformer. The ratio of the transformer is 4:1. So I don't know. Maybe it might confuse the learners.
Sure. Now I'm looking at the picture. I'm seeing the four students there. And in the current 21st century, I don't believe the students should be sitting that way because of the skills they're supposed to be sharing. So we have communication, collaboration. So I believe in that manner, these students cannot communicate. So the first student cannot talk to the last student. Then also the students are absorbing knowledge. So the students are not creating their own knowledge. Now the next picture, which also we need to compare with this, is this one. So guys, let us have a look at this picture and maybe give our reactions or opinions on what we see. Anyone else to talk about this?
Now, okay, Mwalimu Felix again.
Yeah.
Okay, the second picture looks a bit more interactive. I like the way the students are taking part. I'm also interested to know what is going on. I feel like I want to be part of the lesson there.
Yeah, sure. So the students, I'm seeing some of them are their mouths are wide again. That they are wondering. So anybody else will give an opinion if you are able to. So I'm seeing the students that have employed the technology. It is like something called augmented reality. So the students are able to interact with the content. The students are able to wonder, ask questions, and the way they are studying, that is, they're standing in a curve or a certain manner. They're able also to communicate with each other, and all of them are able to participate. And this is the reason why we are in this session, so that we can be able to know which skills we can use to ensure that our classes are actively, so that we can ensure that our students take part in the learning actively, so that also we can employ the Phet simulations and the Phet pedagogies to enable us to teach effectively, to increase the conceptual understanding. So the next part, I'll welcome Rebecca Vieira.
Great. Thank you, Godfrey. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I am Rebecca Vieira. I lead Phet's global initiatives, and so I basically support the Phet Fellows and work with teacher communities around the world. So I'm curious, are any of you already familiar with Phet simulations? Just type in the chat if you are. You can just say yes or no. I'm just curious to know if you've used Phet simulations before. I know they're fairly widely used around the world, but even if you already use the Phet simulations, a lot of times we don't realize all the different things they can do for us. All right, so it looks like there's a variety of levels of familiarity. So Phet simulations are not videos, they're not just simple like visualizations, they're actually interactive simulations. So I'll be sharing just a few of those with you, but just to give you a bit of background. Phet started in 2002. It was founded by Carl Wyman, who won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2001. And he ended up taking the money that he got with the prize, and he ended up investing it back into education because he really values helping everyone become, what we call STEM literate, right? Able to understand math and science and to appreciate it, and ideally to enjoy it as well. You could go to the next slide, please, Godfrey. Thank you. And the goal behind these Phet simulations is ultimately to make learning STEM more like doing STEM. And so the point here is, while it is very important for students to know things, right, to have like, to know the names of things and all that kind of stuff, focusing on processes, the inquiry process is something that's really important. Knowing how to explore mathematics and how to explore science, those underlying concepts, and not simply to, use a calculator to get the correct solution. That is important, but there's more to it than that. And so Phet simulations were made in order to be engaging. So while they're not just games like, that you can just give to students, they're really meant to be used with a teacher providing support, very similar to like with a science laboratory. You wouldn't just give students equipment and say, do some science. As a teacher, you would give them some guidance. And so that's what Phet simulations are like. So they're very engaging, very relevant. We try to connect them to fundamental principles of math and science. We also try to make it so that it's easy for students to learn. That doesn't mean that we decrease the rigor, but what it does mean is that the simulations are made so that we try to remove some of the complexity and then help them to slowly understand systems. We also know that Phet simulations are effective. There have been almost 10,000 studies done both within Phet, but also mostly outside of Phet, that show that using Phet simulations is in many cases substantially results in a substantially better conceptual understanding, especially for like highly abstract concepts, things like electrons, or things like in chemistry, understanding atoms and molecules. Those are things you can't see in a laboratory. And so doing that with a simulation is really helpful. And then finally, because simulations, they can be used in front of a whole group of students with a projector, but they can also be used one-on-one. And it really allows students to explore their own questions and just gives students a lot more agency, even when you're just projecting it in the classroom, because it allows students to inquire, to ask questions and things like that. Next slide, please, Godfrey. So we have lots and lots of simulations. 160 of them are HTML5. There's other legacy simulations which have to be run just on the computer, but the HTML5 ones can run on a tablet, a smartphone, a laptop, and from our website, everything is free. Godfrey, if you would stop sharing for a moment, I'm going to actually show people the website. Awesome, thank you. So the link, if you want to explore on your own, I'm putting the website in the chat right now. I'll go ahead and share my screen as well, just to show you what the simulations do look like. All right. Okay. So when you come to this page, there's a couple ways to get to the simulations. You can click on these various categories here, or you can just go up to simulations, and I'm going to go to all simulations. And so you'll see there's 106 simulations in HTML5. I think I said 160. I meant 106. Sorry about that. But these are all the simulations you can choose from. And you can choose by subject. I used to be a physics teacher, so I'm going to choose physics. And you can see there's 54 of those. And I'm going to take you to our energy skate park one, which I think is kind of fun. And when you click on a simulation, this one just really shows you all the different things that you can do with it. There's different, like, I wouldn't call them levels, but there's different screens that allow you to explore different things. And as a teacher, depending upon what you're teaching, you might, if you're wanting it to be quantitative or qualitative, you might change that. So I have a character here, and this character is on my roller coaster, which has no friction. But if I wanted, I could do things like see, how does gravity affect how this skateboarder is moving? So I'm going to put lots of gravity. Oh, look at that. So there's still no friction, but you can see that that change in gravity is having an effect. I could also go to a very, tiny amount of gravity, and the skater has now disappeared. So I'm going to bring the skater back. Let me go ahead and put her back on there. I can do things like, there's a very tiny amount of gravity. Let me go back to more or less what Earth is like. Now I can do things like I could add friction. I can also change the nature of the path, and I can find out like, where do I have to start if I want to go through the loop? And eventually I might come to understand a little bit about conservation of energy. I can also do things like add a pie chart, so I can see how energy is being transformed. I can also measure the speed at various points. I can pause her at various points, and I could even get out a measuring stick and I can find out what her height is at that point. And if you know anything about energy, I might be able to measure, for example, her potential energy at that point. And then I could also measure kinetic energy at that point, and I would know her total energy. I can also draw a bar chart right here. And so Phet simulations are extremely flexible. They let you see all different kinds of representations. And then, like I mentioned here, there's different kind of screens that allow you to explore different dimensions and different representations. And then this one actually allows you to create your own roller coaster track as well. So students can find out, how sharp can the loop be? How tall can the loop be? All of that kind of stuff. So that's just one example. There's, I'll show you quickly a math one as well, because I know we also have a lot of math teachers with us. And for this, I'm going to show you actually a simpler one. I'm not sure if it's simpler, but this one's all about center and variability. So if you want to teach students about mean, median, and mode. So for example, here I've got a soccer player, students who are kicking soccer balls or footballs, as you might call them. And as we do this, I'm going to make this person kick 5 times. We're getting all these different measurements about how far that ball was. We can have students predict the median, for example. They can move this around, and then we can actually see what it is. Oh, it's over there. We can sort the data, etc. And again, there's more screens here where we can play around with means and medians and modes and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot that can be done there. I'll stop sharing again. Godfrey, would you put your screen back up for me, if you'd like? I think we have some 15 or so indigenous African languages. We have Yoruba, we have Hausa, we have I think we have Swana, Kinyarwanda, lots and lots of languages. We also have everything in Arabic. And the way that you can get to that is on every simulation, you can click on translations. There's a menu at the bottom on the simulation page, but also from the main menu, you can pull down and go to all of the translations to see what's available in the full collection. We also have accessibility features. And these features are very helpful for students who might have learning differences, or just because, students often like to have different levels of support. We have things like alternative input, where if you don't have a mouse and you want to use your keyboard to move things around in the simulation, or to select things, that will work. You can also, there's different options for sound. There's also interactive description for students who are visually impaired. So some of the simulations, not all simulations, have these features, but if you do have students with special needs, this is definitely something you'll want to explore. And the rest of us should know about it as well. Godfrey, you can go to the next one, please. Wonderful. You'll also find occasionally we release prototypes before being fully published. A prototype means that it's not yet done generally. It means it's been tested quite a bit, but it may not have all of its features yet. So one thing I strongly encourage people to do, and I will put a link in the chat about this, is I encourage you to register for a free Phet teacher account. Give me 1 second to find that link for you, and I will pop it in the chat here. So students do not need any account to go to the simulations, but if you are a teacher, you may want to have access to the free resources because we have we have a variety of things like student activity worksheets and things where teachers can upload, and there's just a lot of great stuff. But you'll also get notifications about new prototypes and new published sims, and also updated sims sometimes. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is we do have offline access. So if you don't have regular internet connectivity, we have a free app that you can download onto the desktop. So if you have like a Windows computer or an a PC or an Apple computer, we have a free app for that. We do have mobile apps for tablets, Chromebooks, iPads, etc., and smartphones. There's a small, it's like 99 US cents. So it may be harder for you to access. I'm not sure how easy it is to get Google Play, but that helps to support some of our work, but it's not necessary. If you're able to go online, you can also download individual simulations, and they're so small that you're able to actually like WhatsApp a simulation to a student or to a colleague. And as long as your colleague has a web browser and can then download that, they should be able to open it and use the simulation. So there's quite a few options for offline access. Would you go to the next one, please, Godfrey? And like I mentioned already, if you get a free Phet account, and again, students don't need any kind of account, so it's also free for them. But for the teachers, if you want to see the teacher resources that we don't want students like distributing everywhere all over the internet, then you do need to make a free account. There's tips for using Phet simulations. There's some information about how to, like I said, to use worksheets and things like that. Yeah, I think that probably covers everything. Godfrey, did I miss anything?
Thank you so much, Rebecca. You've covered most of the things that are important to us. And I also urge our teachers to register for a free account so that we can be able to access everything plus teacher tips. So we have everything. Now we are going to interact with this sim for about 2 minutes. So let me share the link on the chat box. So follow the link and play with the sim so that when we come back for 2 minutes, we can now discuss. The link on the chat box. It's about gas properties. Just click on the link, it will take you to the sim directly. So if you have got into the link, you can just raise your digital hand. If you are able to access the link, please raise your digital hand so that you can be aware of that. Thank you, Rebecca. And Rebecca and Felix. So go into the link and check what is going on.
I love the way somebody is pumping.
Sure. Yeah. Now, instead of bringing a bicycle pump to your class, Felix, instead of bringing a bicycle pump to your class, now you have a virtual pump.
This is amazing. Okay, I don't know whether I can share my screen, but it is just.
Yeah, let me stop so that you can share your screen, Felix.
Okay, I'm currently using a mobile device, but let me try sharing my screen. I think it's going to work. Let me see.
Is it working? Or I can share mine. Okay, Felix has started sharing. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I believe everyone is seeing what Felix is sharing, so that from there we can now interact and give our observations. Thank you so much, Felix. Thank you, Felix. You can now stop sharing. Thank you a lot, Felix. Now, guys, let us talk about what Felix has shared. Yeah, let us talk about what Felix has shared. Yeah, so let us raise your digital hand and share what you have seen. I'm seeing Felix' digital hand is up. Felix, is there anything you want to share with us? Maybe what you have discovered?
I've lowered it down. Okay, I was just the time I discovered about Phet, I'm quite new.
Yeah. Oh.
But I was just amazed by what people out there are doing to assist us, especially those who have no access to such facilities.
Yeah, sure.
And it is interesting. It is a very interesting thing, and I'm also happy to learn that there are also other things you can learn from it. Just like what Madam has said, I teach physics and I have never interacted with anything else. I think during my free time, I would try to look at other simulations later. Maybe I'm missing out in other simulations that I might be thinking they are not physics oriented.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Felix. Any other person web to share his observations? Now, this sim can be used in either chemistry or physics. So some of the simulations which are there are adaptable to other subjects. So you can find a teacher of English also maybe using a sim that she has maybe seen something important that is English type that you want to share with the students. So the sims are adaptable. You can share, you can use to teach any concept in different subjects. Now, this sim will always make the students be inquisitive, will make the students to want to know more, will make the students to do what they could not have done physically. Example, in the after pumping, I'm seeing the molecules of air. So physically, you cannot be able to see the molecules of air, but using the simulation, the student can be able to see the molecules of air. Now, when you are using the Phet sims, we need to use challenge prompts. These ones are the ones which are guiding. So they make our students to think critically so that we can be able to use the simulation effectively. So examples of challenge prompts, which I've been able to get, is find all the ways to increase the force of gravity. That is when you are using maybe a sim that is dealing with gravity. So the next one is, what's the largest dipole moment you can make? So this one is also a physics sim where a student will be able to, the teacher will be able to use this to teach. So another challenge prompt is create an atom with a net charge of 0. So there is a sim that deals with molecule creation and atom creation, which the teacher can use. So these under here are challenge prompts, which the teacher should be able to use, and so that the students can be able to maybe go through the concept easily. Now, the benefits of using Phet simulations. So the first one, okay, some of them, Madam Rebecca shared with us. So they engage the learners using hands-on activities. They are more engaging and accessible, so they are free. You can download them free of charge. They use real world applications, like you have just seen the Phet sim that you have used. We have a pump there, and the pump is available. We have a bicycle pump, the one that you have just used there, which we always use to pump our bicycles. They are already available, so students can interact with it. They guide students without feeling guided, so a student can learn. The student can be able to learn at his own pace, even at home. So the teacher will just give the student an assignment which involves the sim, and the student can be able to do it. Now in Kenya currently, we are we have this inquiry-based learning, which we are getting into. So the first one is engage. So the Phet sims engage learners with a problem or a question. So the student is given a problem and the student is able to explore using the sim individually or in a group of students. So after exploration, a student can be able to present the discussion and observations in their class. The students can be able to also test hypotheses and make predictions using the sim. The students can also share their conclusions and their findings. Now, the IBL is a teaching pedagogy that is active. So this is a good one. Now we have the CBC and Phet sims, the curricular-based, the competency-based curriculum that we are implementing currently in Kenya. We are, I think, in grade 7. So we have critical thinking. The learners think about cause and effect and the test hypothesis using the Phet simulations. The learners are also able to collaborate and to share in a group. So the sims, they bring the learners together. So the student can be able to share their findings after interacting with the simulation. The sims also, they teach digital literacy. So the learners interact with digital interfaces like computer, a tablet, a phone. So the learners are also able to inculcate creativity. It encourages innovation, where the learners are able to learn new approaches to solving problems. So the self-sim, the Phet sims are also able to make learners to be self-directed. So students learn, they get motivated, and also regulate their own learning. So the Phet sim and CBC is a good approach that teachers who are teaching the CBC curriculum can employ. Now, evidence of increased learning. So there is a researcher called Banda. So he compared a situation where a sim is used and a situation where there is no sim used. And that is why there's a control. So we have the pre and the post-test academic achievement. So during the pre-test academic achievement, the pre-test, the blue one, the students did not perform better than the post-test, which is I think this is orange. Now, when the sim was used, you can look on the right part, the students performed better after the sim. So I think the Phet sims can be used to increase the conceptual understanding of science and mathematics in our learners, as evidenced by that research carried out by Banda. So also, there's a time I was teaching in a school called Shikadabu Secondary School in Mombasa. And when I started using the sim in 2017, the number of boys to girls in my school in physics class was really wanting. So I had very few boys, very few girls in my class, but many boys. But immediately I started using the sim, the number increased exponentially, as can be seen in the graph. So let us maybe help the students understand physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics better by using the sim to increase the number of boys to girls in our school. So the gender balance, the gender disparity should be as minimal as possible. Yeah, so there are 3 Phet teaching pedagogies. So the first one is we have concept questions, we have interactive lecture demonstrations, and we have whole class inquiry. And these 3 will be able to interact with them deeply during our virtual workshop, which will take place in Coursera. So I'll welcome you to the workshop. So everybody has received an email which is inviting you to the workshop. So you'll be able to use these three so that we can be able to make our classes active and interactive. Now, lastly, I'll welcome Madam Rebecca to share with us how to navigate through Coursera. So Rebecca, can I stop sharing my screen?
Yes, you can stop sharing. Thank you so much, Godfrey.
Thank you.
All right. So the first thing that I want to make sure that everybody knows is you should have received 3 invitations. And those 3 invitations would have come from the email that I've just put in the chat, no-reply@t.mail.coursera.org. This is also described in the syllabus that is in What's Up, but that is what you should be looking for. If you did not get 3 invitations, it probably means 2 different things. Either number 1, it's possible that it went into your spam, and you should definitely check your spam box just to make sure it's not in there. The second thing that might have happened is perhaps your email wasn't spelled correctly. It's, unlikely, but I know it's a possibility. So you should have gotten that about an hour ago. And again, it was for 3 different courses. You need to enter these courses through those emails. Do not go straight to Coursera and look for the Phet workshops, because if you do that from the public end, Coursera will try to charge you money for the certificate. If you join this way, this takes you to a private session, so there's no cost, and you will get the certificate for free once you do all of the required activities. So, and then if you didn't get the email, just drop us a note in WhatsApp and we will check for you. So I'm going to show you what Coursera will look like once you open up that email. Now, you may be asked, if you don't already have a Coursera account, it will ask you to put in your email address and to create an account, to create a login so that you can come to Coursera. But again, if you get any kind of a prompt that asks you to pay money, you're not in the right place. Do not pay for the certificate. That is not required, and it will actually put you in a public version of the course where we really can't provide the same kind of support as here. So this is my viewer as an administrator. When you accept this course, you should see 3 courses in there. You will see one that's called Introduction to Phet Simulations. That's course number 1. You should also see the second one, which is Activity Design, and the third one, which is Implementation. And you might think, well, this is confusing. What order are they? This is why Godfrey has put together a beautiful syllabus and has shared it with you. And so when you go through the syllabus, it will make it very clear, these are the 3 courses that you're going to be taking. And the 3 courses are in this order as they're listed here. So there's first an Introduction to Phet Simulations. And this is a course that basically teaches you about what a simulation is and all those different features. So the assignment that there's 2 assignments you'll be doing in this course. The first one is just to find 5 simulations that are relevant to you. And like I said, if you already use Phet, try finding some other ones you've not looked at yet. The second thing you'll be doing is you'll be choosing one of 3 different whole class inquiry activities, and those will be described to you. There are 3 options, but you only have to do one of them. Again, it's all pretty clear in the course. Then you'll take another course, which is Activity Design, and this is where you will create a worksheet for students. And then the final one, you'll create a full teacher's guide, and then you'll actually try implementing the activity in your classroom. Now, don't worry. I know you may be on break and you may not have students right now, or even for the duration of this course. So if you can't do it with students, then we encourage you to try your activity with a peer. Maybe it could be, if
Hello,
you get really
Rebecca.
desperate. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we are in a break for only 1 week. So by Monday next week, we'll be back to school.
Okay. So then it's very important that you choose for this final section. It's very important that you choose something that you can use when you get back into session. So choose something that's relevant to your students. So all of this is in here. This describes all of the assignments and then how you get your certificates. There's also frequently asked questions. So once you get into Coursera, this is what it's going to look like. Sorry, here, let me take you into, this is the actual course, and I'm going to take you into the student view. All right. So if we go into the student view and then into the first week, this is what it looks like. And what you will do is you will click on these various pieces and it will tell you once you've completed it. So there's a simple reading, which is a welcome reading. And it just basically tells you, what you're going to be doing in this course. You can always click on the next button where it says go to next item. This is just a simple pre-survey. Again, once you complete that, go to next item. And then there are discussions along the way. As you see discussions, there's lots of different things to reflect on. You do not need to answer all of the questions, but it is good for you to maybe choose one and think about it, because as you know, when we reflect and think about what we're learning, we tend to learn better. There's also readings along the way. And so please do those readings, because I will tell you, if you do not do the readings, you probably may not be successful with the actual assignments. And then you may end up having to do the assignment a second time. So please do take your time to do the readings when it asks you to do that. And then there are a number of videos. The videos you can also play, I think, at twice the speed or at slower speed, depending upon what you prefer. And basically, once you finally get through to the peer review assignment, I will take you to that to show you. It will tell you honor code and say, please don't cheat, don't take other people's work and claim it as your own, all the things we know. And your task here is whenever you have a peer review, we generally have a template, which you must complete, and then you must submit. So you'll notice there are 2 tabs here. So don't overlook those tabs. When you go into the instructions, again, you'll have a template which will download. I'll just show you what that template looks like. We'll open it here. Let's see here. Let me reshare my screen so you can actually see this, because I think I wasn't sharing my whole desktop. Let's see here. Okay. I think you can see my screen now. So this is an example template. This is a very simple initial assignment where it asks you to to describe what course you're teaching, describe the context, and then it asks you to, and now you can see my screen. The template asks you to identify a topic, a relevant simulation, and what you think students can learn from it. You need to complete this activity according to the description up here, and then you're going to save that activity. And you're going to go back into Coursera, and you're going to then go to My Submission. And this is where you will end up submitting the activity. Okay. So that's what you'll do. And then the second part of all peer review is that you must review other people. And so you'll click on here where it says start reviewing. And for example, we have somebody, I'm not going to click on their assignment here, but we have somebody who submitted a while ago. You'll click on their assignment, and then there's a simple rubric where you should be very honest with them. Did they meet the requirement or did they not meet the requirement? You can put any feedback and then also submit. So that's how this process works. That is just one part of the there's multiple pieces. You'll see it says week 1 and week 2. I don't think it needs to take you a full week to do this. In fact, I think the way it's set up is that it's generally recommended across 6 weeks. And I believe that the way that it's been set up right now with this course is we're encouraging people to get it done in 4 weeks, because you do have that break time right now that you should be able to go a little bit faster through this first module. So I think that gives the overview that we need. Godfrey, did I miss anything?
No. Thank you so much.
Oh, hold the microphone close because we can't hear you.
Okay, thank you so much, Rebecca. Now we are just 2 minutes past the end of our meeting. So I encourage anyone who maybe is pressed, you can just leave. And if you have any question, it is now the time for Q&A. So you are free to ask any question. Just unmute and ask. Yeah, so our official meeting is over, but you can remain behind to ask any question. You are free to leave at any minute. Yes, Nicholas, you have a question? Anyone who has a question? Just unmute and ask.
Hello.
Yes, Nicholas.
Okay, when are we supposed to submit the work?
The work is continuous, so I'll advise you start with the first course, which is Introduction to Phet Simulations. And I think it is self-paced, but the deadline is in a month's time. It should take 1 month. So you'll be able to submit, but start with the Introduction to Phet, then implement, then activity design, then implementation part. So I think in a month's time to be able to complete. So I have shared the syllabus. So everything is on the syllabus. Thank you, Nicholas. So any other person who has a question? Anyone has a question? Yeah, so it's like everybody is satisfied. So I once again thank you for coming on board and sharing with us, participating in this important activity. So at the end of this, we are continuing our interaction and conversation on WhatsApp. So you are encouraged to join our WhatsApp group, which I shared also to everyone in email. And most of you have joined. So maybe Rebecca, do you have anything?
I would just say that if you have any questions, first look at the syllabus, then ask each other in the WhatsApp. And finally, if you don't get a resolution, then ask Godfrey. And we'll keep our eyes on the WhatsApp as well. But please do check the resources that we've prepared for you before coming directly to us, because the answer's probably in there.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Now, also, I'm encouraging you to join the Phet Educator community, which is on WhatsApp, where we share globally and in Africa on our challenges, our strengths, the ways of making learning more active, more interactive, better. So let us better our teaching and also grow ourselves professionally. So I'll stop at that point and thank everyone. I will share the video, I'll share the recording with you guys on WhatsApp and on each person's email address. So thanks and all the best. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So you are free to leave at any time.
Bye-bye. Okay.
So the link for WhatsApp is on chat box. You can just join at any time. Also share the link on WhatsApp so that each and every person can belong to the group, the community of educators. So thanks so much. Bye.